Walmart Plus members save on meeting up with friends. Save on having them over for dinner with free delivery with no hidden fees or markups. That's groceries, plus napkins, plus that vegetable chopper to make things a bit easier. Plus, members save on gas to go meet them in their neck of the woods. Plus, when you're ready for the ultimate sign of friendship, start a show together with your included Paramount Plus subscription. Walmart Plus members save on this plus so much more. Start a 30-day free trial at walmartplus.com. Paramount Plus Essential Plan only. Separate registration required. See Walmart Plus terms and conditions.
You can make money the hard way becoming a bullfighter, or save money the easy way with Xfinity Mobile. It sure beats making money as a human cannonball. Learn how existing Xfinity customers can get a free line of unlimited intro for a year when they buy one unlimited line. Plus, now through February 27th, ask how to get the new Samsung Galaxy S24 with 128 gigabytes on us. Visit XfinityMobile.com today. Free unlimited line offer ends March 21st. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet. Reduced speeds up to 20 gigabytes of usage per line. Data thresholds may vary.
When your space has the long-lasting, noticeable scent of Airwick Vibrant Scented Oils, you'll want to invite everyone over, from book club to the fantasy league, even the in-laws.
It smells amazing.
Airwick Vibrant Scented Oils are infused with 2 times more natural essential oils versus regular Airwick Scented Oils for our most authentic, nature-inspired fragrance experience. Transform your space with scents like white sage and mahogany or lavender and water lily. Now that's a breath of fresh Airwick.
Hello and welcome to Gegenpressing, the Bundesliga podcast. I'm Manu, he's Stefan Bienkowski, and Stefan, it's so good to have you back on after, a much-deserved day off. I had Louis Ostrowski on, of course, yesterday for the bonus show to talk everything Zweite Bundesliga. How's it going?
Yeah, very well. It was a pleasure to not be on the show because you and Louis did a fantastic job rounding up this Zweite Bundesliga. We like to try and cover the league every so often when we can because there's so many stories, so many clubs, so many teams, and the prospect of a Hamburg side being back in the Bundesliga for the first time since 2018, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, all very interesting and definitely something that listeners should go check out if they haven't already done so.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's good to have some Zweite Bundesliga coverage every once in a while. The league has been absolutely bonkers. I've been lucky enough to watch a few games this year, so having an expert on to break it all down has been fantastic. And Louis does some really good work covering that division, and yeah, it's great. It's really great. Some great storylines. So yeah, please check it out. Anyways, we have much to cover today, so let's dive into it right after this break. This episode of the Gegenpressing podcast is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline continues to be your number one source for all your basketball wagering needs, including pro and college hoops throughout the year. With the up-to-the-minute odds, stats, and trends, you can follow your favorite team's path to the playoffs with in-game live betting, contests, and all the best player props. Experience the world's best wagering platform anytime from your desktop or your mobile devices. Head to BetOnline today to become part of the team, and remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, that is BLEAV, BELIEVE, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, the game starts here. Yeah, Stefan, and it's going to be a really interesting match day, I think, and we have a rarity, a Friday start with Bayern Munich. That doesn't happen very often. Of course, this time around, because Bayern Munich are in the Champions League, they're playing Tuesday against Lazio, so the bosses at the DFL have opted to give them some extra time. Makes sense to me, especially because this was a really weird week with no midweek fixtures in March, which doesn't actually happen that often. So yeah, the match day kicks off with Freiburg against Bayern, and you know what? I think Bayern are going to stay on their winning ways here. They haven't won in 3 away games, which is actually kind of bonkers when you think about it. But I think that's going to end here. I think they're going to build on the Leipzig result, and then they're going to beat Freiburg 2-1.
Yeah, I have to agree. I don't think this fixture is probably as balanced as it has been in previous seasons, or at least a trip away to Freiburg perhaps isn't as threatening as it has been in recent years. The club are obviously in a rebuild. They're obviously in the middle of an injury crisis of sorts, and they've obviously been started to kind of tumble down to mid-table. Yeah, I completely agree. I thought Bayern were perfectly fine against Leipzig. There was the prospect of them losing and, further anguish against for Tuchel. But I think on the whole, they were probably the better side. They managed to kind of navigate that test quite well for the most part, even if it did require, some last-minute heroics from Harry Kane. And yeah, I think Freiburg are probably a much easier prospect to face. So yeah, I've actually gone for a 2-1 win here for Bayern.
Yeah, so similar thoughts here. The one thing that needs to be pointed out, Freiburg's injury crisis actually easing off a little bit. Ginter could return to the team. Players missing is Matthijs de Ligt is missing for Bayern, right? And Kim or Upamecano could rotate into the squad here. Dyer, and this is the story today, of course, now a permanent Bayern Munich player. Here to stay. Yeah, he is set to start this match, but you know what? It's interesting, I think, for both those teams, considering that they have European nights next week, right? So, and I think for both of those teams, the focus will be elsewhere. So this is going to be pretty straightforward. That brings us to the Saturday fixtures, and first up is your match of the week, and that is Union Berlin against Dortmund. Stefan, this is going to be fascinating. A lot of noise around Dortmund for all wrong reasons. What do you think here?
Yeah, we just mentioned how Bayern seemed to have kind of weathered the storm last weekend, and it feels like Dortmund just kind of got themselves involved in more anguish with that result against Hoffenheim. I've listened to a lot of podcasts and read a lot of articles and media talking about Edin Terzic's future at the club, and I think if you're to look at the fixtures that Dortmund have coming up, you could understand if Terzic has a few kind of sleepless nights in the coming weeks or months ahead, and I think this test against Union Berlin's a perfect example. You'd forgive kind of listeners who've maybe kind of tuned in and out of the Bundesliga this year for thinking that Union Berlin are still this kind of team at the bottom of the league table, who, have kind of completely lost their gold dust. They're completely, they were a one-hit wonder, and they're now, they've now been kind of left to the kind of, what's the expression, the dust heap of history or something like that. But they haven't. They've obviously brought in a new head coach. He's done a fantastic job. And actually, over the course of the last, I saw a stat today, I think they've picked up 18 points from their last 11 games.
Yeah, solid.
And in the 10 before that, they picked up 1. In the last 10 games, they've picked up just 1 fewer points than Dortmund. In the last 5 games, they've picked up the exact same amount as Dortmund. And I think quite crucially for this game, their home form has been just really, really impressive. They've picked up 4 wins and 1 draw in their last 5 home games. They've actually, along with that, kept 3 clean sheets rather, conceded just 3 games along that. And I think they face a Dortmund team that are really probably on the brink of a meltdown, to be honest with you. I know that's maybe hyperbole, but, from what I read in the Dortmund forums, from what I see on social media, from, see the coverage of the club, I think a lot of Dortmund fans are just kind of waiting for the wheels to fall off this team. And I think this could be a perfect opportunity for Union to take advantage of that. So I've actually gone for a 2-0 win for Union Berlin.
Wow. Yeah, I've actually gone for something really similar. 2-1 for Union Berlin. That's, I shouldn't be surprised that we're both thinking that, actually. But, you list a few things, and I had a thought about Union Berlin this week. You know how everyone said that last year was kind of like, a fluke for them to be in the top 4? I actually think the fluke was the start of the season this year, not last year, right? And they're showing it. I think they're top 4 side right now on current form. If anything, their start of the season was a bigger fluke than anything that they did last year, and they're showing it. I mean, yes, you look at the Bundesliga table, you only glance at the Bundesliga table, you see them at 14th, and you're like, oh, that's relegation trouble, but the middle of the table is so tight. There's only 4 points between 9th and 14th, right? And so you have 2 wins, and you further up the table, and even more importantly for Union Berlin, It's 8 points to a playoff spot, not even a relegation spot, to a playoff spot. So they are already quite in the clear there. And if they win this, they're on 28 points with around 36 to 38 points you save in the Bundesliga standings. I tell you what, they'll, and I said this already a few times when they were in the middle of the crisis. I fully expect Union Berlin to finish around 8th or 9th, and I think I'm right. This is they're going to continue with that trend here. But yeah, I mean, Stefan, Dortmund are going to be in a lot of trouble if you're right.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you look at the kind of fixtures they've got after this Union Berlin game, I don't think it's going to get any easier for them. Yeah, I guess we'll address that on the preview shows to come. Yeah, no, absolutely fascinating. Up next in the schedule is Mainz against Gladbach. Mainz improved last week, played really well against a really, really, really strong Leverkusen side. And then the week before beat Augsburg in a really important match. That gap though to a non-relegation spot is still 10 points, and that seems so big. I think for the 3 clubs at the bottom of the table, Köln, Mainz and Darmstadt, the safety will come via the playoffs at this stage, Stefan. And I don't think they're going to be able to shorten the gap either. One of the teams that are in safety, although you could put them into this relegation zone, is Gladbach. But they are so far ahead of Mainz, and I don't think that gap is going to shrink. I have a 1-1 draw here. I've almost gone for something. Actually, I have gone for the exact same result. I was looking ahead to the next game. Yeah, I've gone for a 1-1 draw as well. I think Mainz, people look at their form and think, yeah, they're not really doing it, but they really ran Leverkusen really close last weekend. They picked up a good win against Augsburg, drew with Union Berlin before that, obviously defeated Stuttgart. And Gladbach are really kind of hot and cold sides. People, in equal measure, people say, wow, 5-2, they really deserved that. But Bochum actually opened a scoring in that game. They pulled it back to 4-2, I believe it was at one point. And at no point were Gladbach really in control of that match. It was just an absolute topsy-turvy game, which probably flattered Gladbach, to be honest with you. So, yeah, I think Mainz are probably doing a bit better than the results suggest, and maybe Gladbach aren't doing as well as last week's results suggest. So yeah, I've gone for a 1-1 draw. That's not enough for Mainz, though, is it? No, it's not. That bottom 3 kind of fascinates me because I'm curious. It's going to be such a weird race to the playoff spot, and I'm not sure if those 3 teams are strong enough to actually beat whoever comes up. I guess we'll have to address that when the time comes. But you look at possibly HSV finishing 3rd, and I think that HSV might be able to be good enough to beat one of those teams. But we'll see. We'll get there when the time comes. Up next, Bochum against Leipzig. This Bochum side at home is so very good. And we all look at Bayern's meltdown there, but I think we really tried to make the point after it happened, right, that we really wanted to address how well Bochum played at home. And this is not a one-trick pony. They have done this many times. And I think they might do something similar here against Leipzig, Stefan, and I went for a 1-1 draw. Yeah, so I've kind of got along similar lines. Bochum, as you said, really impressive at home. Just mentioned how I thought they were a bit unfortunate not to take anything away from that game against Gladbach. And in equal measure, I think Leipzig have really stagnated in recent months. We actually had one subscriber reach out. I can't remember if it was on YouTube or on the Substack, so I apologise, who kind of said, look, you guys need to chill out on Leipzig. They lost so many big players. This is a transition season. We need to give Marco Rose time. And I think there's actually a lot of, I think that's a very fair point. And, when you're caught up in the day-to-day or week-to-week fixtures, you can kind of lose track of the bigger picture. And, I've got no doubt that Leipzig probably do have the capacity to kind of bounce back. But as things are right now, they are kind of in the thick of it with not a great run of form. And the other thing as well is they've just played Bayern. They just kind of really gave it all their all in that game for the most part. And I just think going away to Bochum is probably the last thing they want right now. So I've actually gone for a 1-0 win for Bochum.
Hey, this is Jeff Lewis from Radio Andy. Live and uncensored, catch me talking with my friends about my latest obsessions, relationship issues, and bodily ailments. With that kind of drama that seems to follow me, you never know what's going to happen.
You can listen to Jeff Lewis live at home or anywhere you are. Download the SiriusXM app for over 425 channels of ad-free music, sports, entertainment, and more. Subscribe now and get 3 months free. Offer details apply.
With my busy life, I use Shipt same-day delivery to keep up. When I need a jar of extra creamy peanut butter delivered, I know my personal shopper Amber will come through. And if it's not on the shelf, she asks them to check the back. Shipt, delight in every delivery. Learn more at Shipt.com.
You can make money the hard way becoming a bullfighter, or save money the easy way with Xfinity Mobile. It sure beats making money as a human cannonball. Learn how existing Xfinity customers can get a free line of unlimited intro for a year when they buy one unlimited line. Plus, now through February 27th, ask how to get the new Samsung Galaxy S24 with 128 gigabytes on us. Visit XfinityMobile.com today. Free unlimited line offer ends March 21st. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet. Reduced speeds up to 20 gigabytes of usage per line. Data thresholds may vary.
Walmart Plus members save on meeting up with friends. Save on having them over for dinner with free delivery with no hidden fees or markups. That's groceries, plus napkins, plus that vegetable chopper to make things a bit easier. Plus, members save on gas to go meet them in their neck of the woods. Plus, when you're ready for the ultimate sign of friendship, start a show together with your included Paramount Plus subscription. Walmart Plus members save on this plus so much more. Start a 30-day free trial at walmartplus.com. Paramount Plus Essential Plan only. Separate registration required. See Walmart Plus terms and conditions.
This episode of the Gegenpressing podcast is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline continues to be your number one source for all your basketball wagering needs, including pro and college hoops throughout the year. With the up-to-the-minute odds, stats, and trends, you can follow your favorite team's path to the playoffs with in-game live betting, contests, and all the best player props. Experience the world's best wagering platform anytime from your desktop or your mobile devices. Head to BetOnline today to become part of the team, and remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, that is BLEAV, BELIEVE, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, the game starts here. Ooh, interesting. Okay, well, we both have Bochum pick up a point or many points, which is also, of course, comes with all sorts of implications in the relegation battle, right? Because there's another team that's possibly picking up points ahead of these bottom three. All right. Up next, Heidenheim against Frankfurt. I, once again, couldn't separate those two teams. But I went first last, so I'm going to let you go first this time. What do you think here, Stefan?
Yeah, so I think Frankfurt are another team who've really kind of, dropped the ball recently, if you allow me to mix my sporting metaphors. In the last 5 match days, they've only picked up 6 points. They've drawn the last 3 games. And, 3 games that they probably should have won. Bochum at home, which, as we just talked about, Bochum are great away. Freiburg, who, let's be honest, are absolutely decimated in the shadow of their former selves. And then Wolfsburg as well, who, we'll get on to Wolfsburg in a minute, but just a perfectly capable team for Frankfurt to beat. It just feels like Frankfurt just are not firing on all cylinders right now. Heidenheim, in contrast, I think are, for the most part, they've only lost 1 of the last 5, and it just feels to me like where Frankfurt are maybe stagnating, Heidenheim are probably making the absolute most of what they can in games, and as a result, I've actually gone for a 2-1 win for Heidenheim.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I couldn't separate the two. I went for a 1-1 draw, which I think will suit Heidenheim quite well. Frankfurt maybe not so much because they're in that top 6, right? 4 points ahead of Hoffenheim. It's actually remarkable that Hoffenheim is still up there, but we'll get to them. But you know what? This is a point that will suit Heidenheim just fine because that gets them to 29, closer to that magic. We can no longer get relegated marker, and Frankfurt will be once again dropping point in their race to qualify for Europe once again, which I think is really important for the club. So either way, 1-1 is what I have. And I also have 1-1 for that next one, Stefan. Darmstadt against Augsburg. Which
your arse must be sore with all those wood splinters after sitting on the fence all episode.
Yeah, we can't help it. Like this, it's like you can't separate these teams.
I know. I think we talk about this on the show quite a lot, but I think we've actually probably cracked the Bundesliga's scheduling algorithm, which is basically top half versus bottom half, and then top half versus top half, bottom half versus bottom half, because it feels like every second week we're on the show saying, "Oh, there's a whole run of fixtures that we can't separate." I completely agree. Yeah, this is the exact same. So you've gone for a draw for this one.
Yeah, 1-1. I went back and forward, and Darmstadt aren't good, but they are are capable of getting results at home. A draw isn't going to help them. They had lots of draws already, right? They need to win games, but and Augsburg are too they're not going to be upset about a draw because that just keeps them comfortably in the middle of the table. So, and it just kind of makes sense that's going to be the outcome here.
I've got a little more hope for Augsburg. They typically have been probably a bit better on the road this season, I think, than they have been at home, if I'm not mistaken. And in fact, I'm not sure if that's true. I've just checked the stats. I'm not entirely sure. The recent form actually has been okay on the road. And obviously Darmstadt have just been pretty poor in general. They have been kind of clawing some draws in, and I can completely understand the tendency to go for a draw for this one, but for some reason I've gone for a very narrow 1-0 win for Augsburg.
So, okay, I've gone for lots of draws. My question then is, are you going to give a draw to Wolfsburg against Stuttgart? Because that's what Wolfsburg like to do. They have drawn 6 of their 7 last Bundesliga matches. Is that going to continue here, Stefan?
It'd be really. I was really tempted to be fairly honest with you, and you're absolutely right. I watched Wolfsburg against Dortmund recently, and they were actually the better team in that game, in my opinion. They got a draw against Frankfurt, and as you said, Hoffenheim and Cologne as well, and they've lost to Union Berlin in that time. I just think Stuttgart are going to be too good for them, to be perfectly honest with you. There's something bizarre about this Wolfsburg side that they're just basically doing enough to avoid relegation and really not much else, which works against a Frankfurt team who are out of form, or a Dortmund side who we've spoke about are just well off the boil. But that defeat to Union Berlin suggests to me that when they play decent teams who are really kind of on their upward trajectory, they tend to kind of lose. And I think Stuttgart, despite last weekend's draw, are still very much one of the most informed teams in the league. So yeah, I think Stuttgart should have enough to win this one 2-1.
Yeah, no, Stuttgart are lead. I think they actually should have won the game last week. And I actually went for the exact same result, 2-1. Not sitting on the fence on this one, Stefan. No, and you know what? I saw a crazy stat about Wolfsburg today that at one point we need to maybe discuss this a little bit more. Wolfsburg's jersey sponsorship is the biggest in the league by a big margin. They're sponsored by Volkswagen, of course, and they receive 70 million euros a year. Nothing to see here, of course, right? If you're on the investor train at the moment, there's nothing to see here. 70 million euros for their shirt sponsorship. Wolfsburg, I don't understand what they do with all that money. They burn more money than the diesel scandal did. It's really incredible. All right, that gets us to Sunday, and my match of the week, which is the Rhein Derby. Although, as it is the case when Leverkusen play Gladbach, it's only a Rhein Derby if Gladbach wins. And for Köln fans, it's only a Rhein Derby when Köln win. As a result, I don't think this is going to be a Rhein Derby, Stefan, because I think Leverkusen are going to go and do what Leverkusen always have done this season, and they're going to pick up points. In this case, they're going to pick up all 3. Köln looked better against Stuttgart, I admit that, but, I just sense that Leverkusen, this is just too much for them. Yes, there's a big occasion. I've actually been to a Rhein Derby before that Köln won, but that Köln side was a lot better than this Köln side. And so, yeah, I just think the quality gap is too much. Leverkusen are going to win this game and continue on with the 8-point gap over Bayern Munich.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, to be perfectly honest with you. Cologne typically, from what I can remember, kind of play into Leverkusen's hands here when Leverkusen are capable of, winning these games. It's obviously a derby, so, you'd think logically Cologne should go into this game, play very defensively, try and, claw a point against the team top of the table, but that's not how it tends to play out. The fans go absolutely nuts. They demand blood. They demand that someone sticks Florian Wirtz in the air, to use a Scottish expression. Maybe it's an English one too, actually. But I don't know why that popped into my head, actually. Whenever I used to play football the weekend, if there was a really smart, clever, quick player, one of the kind of old defenders would shout, "Stick that boy in the air," just to basically slide tackle him. Which is typically what Cologne do when Florian Wirtz plays against them, unfortunately. And yeah, so basically, I think the fact that it's a derby will probably actually play into Leverkusen's hands. At least the fans might not accept it's a derby, but they'll treat it as a derby in the stadium and demand that the team treat it like a derby. And I think Leverkusen will happily pick off Cologne as such. So yeah, I've gone for a 2-0 win for Xabi Alonso's side.
How many closet Köln-Leverkusen fans do you think will come out with the Leverkusen tops when Leverkusen win the title?
Well, I've got a few, so I might do that exactly. I might do the exact same thing.
I always like, there used to be this joke, right, that like Köln fans, when they had season tickets to Leverkusen because that was their way to see good football. It makes you wonder. I'm pretty sure there's a few that have both their jerseys in the closet, and will have some difficult choices to make come May, or not. I guess Leverkusen, there's going to be finally a title celebration in the Rhine area. Good for them. Anyways, that gets us to the final match of the weekend. That's Hoffenheim against Werder Bremen. Werder Bremen sneakily up there, Stefan, sniffing around a European spot. Hoffenheim, of course, have done a really good job against Dortmund last week. And what do you think is going to happen here? Is Hoffenheim going to continue their good form or build on their on that result against Dortmund?
No. I think that result itself probably flattered Hoffenheim, to be perfectly honest with you. As you mentioned on the main show this week, you couldn't believe the way that Dortmund let them back into it.
Unbelievable.
That was more case...
Shocking.
Yeah, it was more a case of Dortmund losing that game than Hoffenheim winning it. And, the fact that, basically a massively deflected goal led to the win itself is obviously a huge part of that. And I think Hoffenheim would have to be at absolute best to ensure that they prove that it wasn't a blip, because their home form has been pretty dreadful recently. And then you take a look at Werder Bremen, and they've got the best away form second best away form, in the league over the course of the last 5 games, away games. And we talked about Bremen the week before, I believe, and talked about how they've been really kind of grinding out results and how they've really sorted the defensive line out. And yeah, I think it'd be a really impressive performance from Bremen. It'd be a great indication of how far they've come, that they can go somewhere like Hoffenheim and pick up 3 points. And I think that's exactly what they'll do. So, yeah, I've gone for a 2-1 win.
Yeah, that's what I have. And that's, of course, huge implications, right? Because Werder Bremen would leapfrog Hoffenheim into 7th, which is probably enough for Europe this year. Because of Leverkusen might win the DFB Pokal, right? Which means that spot goes back to the league. And if you prediction of Bayern Munich winning the Champions League turns out to be true, Stefan, then Bundesliga will also with almost certainty get a 5th Champions League spot. Having said that, the more likely outcome, actually, Leverkusen winning the Europa League, that would also generate enough points for the Bundesliga finishing in that top 2, which gives them an extra Champions League spot. And so 7th is probably going to be enough for Europe, which means, so a team like Werder could be in it. which I don't think anyone had on their bingo card ahead of the season. It's really impressive overall. I think this Werder side has been really, really impressive. We were a little criticized after the Bayern game for not giving Werder Bremen enough credit, and I think that person was actually correct, because because we didn't. And I mean, they're really good. The second half of the season, they have sneakily become really, really good.
Yeah, absolutely deserve all the credit, which we tried to give them on the show recently, and it's only simply down to the dumpster fires elsewhere in the league that unfortunately take most of our attention, that we haven't had enough of an opportunity to dive into them, but we'll certainly try and do that. But they can certainly help that with a win of the weekend.
I mean, Werder back in Europe would be great. It's a beautiful stadium. It's a great city. It's actually one of the most beautiful stadiums in the Bundesliga, located right on the River Weser. The journey there is always really nice. So, it would be great. It would be great to see them perform well. Stefan, that's it. As always, this show is brought to you by Bet Online in association with Get German Football News, where you can find this podcast every single week. Thanks again to them for posting the show. Also, all the newsletters are also, if you're still on the fence about subscribing, there's a lot of great content. You wrote about Dortmund and Terzic and his wingback problems. Matt has a great roundup on what's going on in the Bundesliga fan scene. I did a very long read on all the problems Max Eberl will have to fix at Bayern Munich. It's a novel. And then, of course, we have 2 bonus shows where you and I gifted each other 117 million euros to fix Bayern Munich's squad. That was a fun exercise. I love playing Football Manager. And then on top of that, we had Louis Ostrowski on to talk about the second Bundesliga. So tons of content for subscribers. So if you don't think that's enough, though, we also have a chat, Stefan, right? Which is always a lot of fun on Matchday.
Yeah. Absolutely, and I don't know what the final number was for this at the weekend. I was quite busy last weekend, but it was great to kind of check in and out. Fans seem to really enjoy chatting to each other in there. We don't even really need to be there, to be honest. It's just the guy, and then if we don't start the thread, someone else typically does. So it's great that community is just kind of growing arms and legs, and people are enjoying it. And it's also a good place to, if you are in a kind of outside Germany or outside Europe, and you're looking for kind of, similar kind of German football fans around your part of the world. We have had some subscribers leave or start a thread saying where they are, and if anyone else is nearby. And it sounds like I'm talking about a dating website here, but it's not. It's obviously just, and it's obviously, talking about meeting up and stuff. It's just nice to know that there are Bundesliga fans around you in your little pocket of the world.
Absolutely. Lots of North Americans and then a few Brits as well. So that's great. And I think a few of them have started, as you said, meeting up and watching games together. So fantastic stuff. Yeah. So if you're looking for a Bundesliga community on top of the content, you're also getting that. So check it out. We'll be back next week with tons of content and all the reviews and Champions League football, etc. Until then, auf Wiedersehen.
Walmart Plus members save on meeting up with friends. Save on having them over for dinner with free delivery with no hidden fees or markups. That's groceries plus napkins plus that vegetable chopper to make things a bit easier. Plus, members save on gas to go meet them in their neck of the woods. Plus, when you're ready for the ultimate sign of friendship, start a show together with your included Paramount Plus subscription. Walmart Plus members save on this plus so much more. Start a 30-day free trial at walmartplus.com. Paramount Plus Essential Plan only. Separate registration required. See Walmart Plus terms and conditions.
Radio Andy.
Hey, it's Andy Cohen. Join me on Andy Cohen Live, where it's just you, me, and some of the world's biggest celebrities. Paris Hilton, Chelsea Handler, Seth Rogen. I love you, Miley. Thank you so much.
You can listen to Andy Cohen Live at home or anywhere you are. No car required. Download the SiriusXM app for over 425 channels of ad-free music, sports, entertainment, and more. Subscribe now and get 3 months free. Offer details apply.
We call it the cliff. Once your child leaves high school, and most kids like mine get a certificate of completion, not even a GED. And that's when you usually rely on your local business people to have a heart to employ your kid. Bagging groceries, folding clothes. Clemson Life is a program where you are taught independent living, how to cook, personal hygiene, how to handle money, how to take public transportation.
Feel like you got enough to do already? I do. That's why I use Shipt same-day delivery to keep up with my busy life. They know the snacks I like down to the extra creamy in my peanut butter. I can get deliveries at home, on set, or even when I'm away on vacay. And my personal shopper, Amber, she's got my back. As in, she asks them to check the back if it's not on the shelf. Shipt. Delight in every delivery. Learn more at shipt.com/hi.
You can make money the hard way becoming a bullfighter, or save money the easy way with Xfinity Mobile. It sure beats making money as a human cannonball. Learn how existing Xfinity customers can get a free line of unlimited intro for a year when they buy one unlimited line. Plus, now through February 27th, ask how to get the new Samsung Galaxy S24 with 128 gigabytes on us. Visit XfinityMobile.com today. Free unlimited line offer ends March 21st. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet. Reduced speeds up to 20 gigabytes of usage per line. Data thresholds may vary.